Coming to you straight from Indianapolis, aka the Circle City, this is the Taking Back You Momcast. The Taking Back You Momcast is a witty, authentic, and sometimes sarcastic podcast for millennial mamas who are in the thick of mom life. And I'm your host, Dani Carter-Iddens, wife, millennial mama, motivational speaker, and motherhood advocate. Hello. Welcome to the Taking Back You Momcast. Hi guys, how you doing? It's Dani Carter-Iddens, your host as always. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday and a great week. And more importantly, I hope you are having a fantabulous December because the holidays, you guys, are in full swing. And so what we're going to do this week is we're going to kind of stick with that, and we're going to talk about how to take care of yourself during the holidays, mamas, because I think, this time of year, we are always so worried about giving such a great experience to our kids that we forget about ourselves. So this week, we are going to talk about self-care for moms. So we're literally going to talk about holiday self-care for moms. So sit back, relax, enjoy what we're going to talk about. And like always, whenever I talk about self-care, we are not talking about bubble baths and candles. Like, we're actually going to give you some real self-care tips. I'm going to give you quite a few, actually. And so hopefully you can pull something from these and make something happen. But before we do that, I want to welcome you to subscribe to this podcast like I do every single week. I just ask you to subscribe, to share. If you know a mom who needs to hear the stuff that we are talking about, by all means, please share this podcast with them. Welcome them. Hi, new friends who are listening. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram at Dani Carter-Iddens, and you can always follow us and find out more about what we do on takingbackyou.com, because really the mission of Taking Back You and the Taking Back You Momcast is to, help moms not only be great moms, but to help them be more than moms. So it's December. Here we are. It is the holidays. And judging from the Taking Back You Facebook page, it seems like a good, majority of you have gotten at least a start on your holiday shopping. Christmas is exactly 2 weeks from today. So if you have not gotten started, it is time. Because it's getting close. It's getting close. But it looks like you guys are doing pretty good. From everybody who responded yesterday when I asked, it looks like everybody's doing pretty good. So what we're going to talk about is just kind of some quick self-care things to help you remember during the season, because we spend so much, time trying to make this the best time of year for our kids, because, we really want them to have magical Christmases like either we did or, maybe we didn't. We want them to have a magical experience this time of year, which is awesome, but a lot of times it comes at the detriment of ourselves. So I'm going to help you make sure that you have a magical time with your children, that your children have a magical time, but make sure you also focus on you and taking care of you. So we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about what self-care isn't, what it is, and, why it's more important than ever, and just kind of the challenges to self-care during the holidays, and why practicing self-care during the holidays is super, super important. So, the first thing is, I think that, self-care has a stigma, and I've done an episode on this before where we talk about the self-care stigma. Because it's real, you guys. This whole idea that it's just all about, bubble baths and, eating bonbons. Well, listen, that's not what it is. It's not selfish. It's not trendy. It's actually about taking care of yourself so that you can be there for your loved ones. It's about, not being able to pour from an empty cup. How many times have I said this? I say this, I can't even believe it. You can't pour from an empty cup. And so, really what self-care is about deliberately loving, giving yourself the love that you give to others. Because if you don't, do that, then you're not going to be able to be there for those other people. And honestly, self-care, I don't know about you, but for me, self-care really helps me to improve my mood. It helps reduce anxiety, and it just helps me stay away from stress. And honestly, that part right there is why self-care is more important than ever. Because you know what? I'm going to tell you guys something, a crazy number that I I learned, and this might blow your mind, or you might be like, yeah, sounds legit. There are literally, okay, so the number of Americans who suffer from some type of anxiety or depression as of 2008, you ready for this number? It's literally crazy. 6 out of 10 Americans. So that means 6 out of 10 people. So that means if you're in a room with 10 people, 6 of them suffer from some sort of anxiety or depression. So that means that, guys, we need to start taking care of ourselves. And here's the deal. It's even worse if you are a millennial mama. So that's us. That's who we are. We are millennial mamas. So listen to this. 3 out of 4 women who were born between the years of 1981 and 1996 say that they suffer from some sort of depression or anxiety. And guess what? You know why? Because of social media, because of this, increased pressure and this need to look perfect. And guess what? The holidays boost this even more. So we see on Pinterest and we see on Instagram all these beautiful holiday spreads, and people are, cooking all these things and, making these fantabulous holiday meals and wearing these fabulous holiday clothes, and they're just glittery and shimmery and fun. And you are like, I can't do that. I don't know how to make that happen. I can't afford to be like that. Da, da, da. And all it's doing is it's stressing us out. And we want to make these magical experiences, but it's just not possible to do it all. And, the challenge during, the holidays, as far as self-care is concerned, is it's a big one, because if you're anything like most families during the holidays, between now and January, you're probably going to go to a lot more parties, probably going to spend a lot more money. You're going to have a lot more to do. You're going to be eating and drinking more, and you're probably not going to be eating and drinking more foods that are necessarily healthy for you. And you're probably going to be doing all of this with less sleep. And that's the real problem, is that we do all of these things with hardly any sleep. So what we really have to ask ourselves is, okay, how are we going to take care of ourselves in the midst of all of this? And, if you're anything like most women, you're probably you probably got it already kicked into high gear. I mean, I literally was planning holidays in September, probably August, if I'm being honest, because, I like to plan everything out 6 months in advance. I know some people are like, girl, I plan things a year out, and some people are like, I can barely make it to tomorrow. So I get it if you're not that kind of person. But for me, I had the holidays and kind of what we were doing pretty much planned before we ever even ate a turkey leg, for Thanksgiving. That's just me. But, what we're going to talk about is just making sure that you are finding ways to take care of you during the holiday season. And we're just going to talk about 6 things that you can do to make sure that you're taking care of you during the holiday season. And they're not brain busters, and that's the thing. A lot of times with Taking Back You, what I always strive to do is I just strive to tell people what I wish someone had told me when I was in, whatever stage of life, or what I wish someone would tell me, in whatever stage of life that I'm in, or whatever stage of life that you're in. And so these are not brain busters, but sometimes we have to just kind of give ourselves permission to, to do these things. And it's crazy, but we do. So I'm here. I'm going to give you permission. I'm going to tell you what you can do. So the first thing, you ready for the first thing? And this is going to it's one of those where it's duh, but then it's also yeah, we need to do that. You need to do something that you enjoy. I know, right? You need to do something that you enjoy over the holiday season. Do something that you enjoy. You can do crafts. They don't have to be holiday themed. They can just be crafts or whatever. Now listen, I'm not crafting. I've said this a ton of times. I'm not crafting. It's not happening. But there are wonderfully talented, skilled women out there who crafts are their bomb diggity. And to you, girlfriend, I say, go ahead with your bad self, because I admire you. I think you're fantastic, and I think you're incredibly talented. I have none of those skills, but I love that you do. So for the love of everything we hold holy in this world, please do something this holiday season that you enjoy. And if that's crafting, then go ahead and do it. If you have other hobbies, you guys read your favorite book. I have a book that I read every Christmas season. It's called Holidays on Ice, and it's by David Sedaris, and it is my holiday go-to book. Listen, it's not appropriate for children. I'm just going to be honest with you. And if you don't have a sense of humor, and kind of a weird sense of humor, then it's probably not the book for you. But if you do, David Sedaris is one of my favorite writers. I love him. He's my favorite in that genre of just kind of like, I don't know, satirical writing. He actually writes about his life, which is what's even more amazing. And Holidays on Ice is just kind of like a compilation of stories about different holiday traditions around the world that he's learned about. And then I think like a couple years he worked as like an elf it's amazing. So like that's my hobby. I love to read that book every year. It's a short read. It's a fun read. And actually even better is listening to it on Audible because he reads it and it's really funny. Make sure that you take breaks. This is another thing that, something that you enjoy. If I don't know, but we've talked about this before, drinking your Starbucks in the Target parking lot while your child is napping is just a fantabulous thing. And those were moments that I lived for, just those few minutes before, that I had just to myself. So take those. By all means, please take those. Don't feel guilty about it. And listen, here's one that we've talked about this before, but I just want to remind you is play music. And don't just play we're not talking Kids Bop. We're not talking about whatever, Disney, CD or Disney, playlist your kid has. I'm talking about your music, like your actual bops, your tunes that you enjoy that might not necessarily be kid friendly. Doesn't matter what you're doing. If the kids are sleeping or whatever, you could turn on your music on your headphones while you clean, or just sit there and listen to your music. Drive, whatever, while you're driving, whatever. But just do something that you enjoy. It doesn't have to be a big thing, but especially during the holiday season, we are so focused on, making our kids feel happy that we kind of forget about our happiness. And then when mama's not happy, that saying, when mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. And there's a reason for that saying, friends, because, well, it's true. The next thing you can do is you can care for your physical health. These things are important. It's another thing where it's kind of like, duh, but we neglect to do them. The first thing is you got to make sure you stay on a somewhat normal sleep schedule. And listen, if you have little babies, then I'm sorry, I love you. Maybe next Christmas, maybe you'll be able to get on a sleep schedule that's somewhat normal. I am sorry. I apologize. But for most of us, we're not sleeping enough just because, we kind of, once the kiddos go to bed, we kind of have to take another hour or two to figure out our lives. And we're, not necessarily getting as much sleep as we should. And so I just want to remind you to try to stay as close to your sleep schedule as possible and to try to get as much exercise as you can. We're shooting for 30 minutes of exercise at least 3 to 5 days a week. And that doesn't have to be crazy. You just need to do something. Take a walk around the neighborhood. Get a couple of girlfriends and, push the kids in the strollers while you go for a walk. That's literally all you need to do. But just doing those things can really help you, relieve stress and just make sure that you are in the right headspace, because we probably are going to be eating more food that we don't normally eat and drinking more drinks that we don't normally drink, and so you just want to make sure that you're kind of balancing all of those things. And that's the last thing that you need to make sure as far as your physical health is concerned, is that you're just balancing everything and that you're making sure that you are, yes, please, by all means, I'm not going to be the person that tells you don't enjoy certain foods for the holidays. I'm about to get down. I love my food. I don't hide it. I love to eat. Yes. But I also try to make sure that I balance it with, drinking more water, getting enough sleep, maybe throwing in an extra Pilates session, I find a YouTube video. And you guys, that's the most amazing thing. YouTube has tons of exercise videos that you can, find and use. You don't have to pay for a big gym membership. Now, granted, I do love my Planet Fitness membership. It's $10 a month. It's amazing. You get to work out. You get to leave the house. It's fine. But if you don't have it, that's not in your budget, or you just don't want to drive somewhere or whatever, I totally get it. YouTube is a great place to find exercise videos of all types. And actually, I could probably compile some of my favorite ones, and I'll share them with you. I'll get around to that. Let's make that a goal for 2020. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely that's something that, you can do for free, and you can change them up so it's not always the same workout. Here's another thing you can do, and this is something that we do not do, especially Americans. We are really bad at this, but you can, use deep breathing. Like, make sure you're taking nice, deep, cleansing breaths over the next few weeks. There's a couple of ways to do this. There's the 4-7-8 method, which is one of my favorite methods. And this is what I used to do all the time. I'd be standing backstage, about to go on stage to dance, and this was my method. So this has been my go-to since I was like, probably about 11 or 12. And what it is you breathe in for 4 counts, you hold that breath for 7 counts, and then you release it out of your mouth for 8 counts. So you breathe in through your nose for 4, you hold it for 7, and then you release it for 8 counts out of your mouth. And that just really helps to calm it down. I do it usually about 4 or 5 times. And when I do that, I just kind of feel like I just feel centered, and I feel ready to take on, life. And that point it was getting on stage. But, now I do that when, things are terribly awry, when my son can't find his shoes, we have to leave for school, the dog is running around the house, and he's like trying to eat, ornaments off the Christmas tree. And if you can tell, this quite possibly might be a true story, because it is. And so, that's when I really use my breathing. Between the hours of 7 and 8 a.m., I breathe a lot, which is really good, because I need it. The other way you can breathe is you can count to 10, or you can count to 100. Those work for some people. So I throw them out there. I don't really use them because I like the 4-7-8 method. It's worked for me for a long time. But listen, if counting to 100 works for you, and you can focus long enough to get to 100, because that's probably part of my problem is I can't focus long enough to get to 100. But if you can, you do you, boo-boo. Go right ahead. You count to 100, and you do what you need to do. All right, the next thing is that you need to, okay, ready? I know. I'm gonna tell you, and you're not gonna like it, but I'm gonna tell you. And this was the hard one. When I gave this talk to my moms at MOPS, they looked at me like I had fallen out of, a Christmas tree when I said this. But here it is. You need to ask for help. I know. But you need to remember this, you guys. Like, you don't have to do it all during the holidays. You don't have to do it all. Okay? Listen, if your kids don't ever get every gift that they want, if they don't get to take part in every activity that they want to take part in, it will be okay. It literally will be okay. They might be a little bummed, but listen, they will make it. We will get through this. They will survive. And because you know what? You can't do it all. And so you have to just kind of put up the white flag at some point and be like, listen, it's not happening. I love you all, but I just can't do all of this. And so if you want this to happen, I'm going to need you to kind of step in. And so this is another thing. Maybe you can consider like a different setup for this year, different than, what you've done in the past. So like, here's the deal. What if you did like a potluck for Christmas? We talked about this a few episodes back, but like seriously, like what if you did like a potluck for Christmas? Or, instead of cooking the entire meal, you just cooked half of it, half of what you usually do, and then told everybody else to bring, whatever. Because listen, I know you're a good hostess, and I love me a good hostess, and you're trying to make sure that you cover all the bases, and that Aunt Boo Boo over here who's allergic to this, and cousin Nelson who's allergic to that, and then the girl that your brother's dating doesn't eat meat, and so you're trying to make something for everybody, and that's great. But here's the deal, like that they have like different dietary issues or whatever, or desires or whatever. It's like, listen, just be like, hey, I know you're vegan. I don't really know how to make vegan food, and I don't know if I would do it justice. So, would you be willing to bring like a vegan dish to share with everyone? Because that would be a really cool way to kind of, like taste vegan food, and like, you can do your thing, and, then it takes it off of you, and it's okay. Like a lot of times they like people who have dietary, needs or desires or whatever, they kind of like prefer their own food anyway. So like instead of trying to work so hard to like make all this stuff for them, just like be like, hey, can you do it? Love ya. Thanks. Cool. And then ask your family to pitch in. Sometimes our family thinks their help isn't welcome. And I think that's crazy because I'm like, no, it's welcome. Please, for the love of everything we hold holy, please help me. Help me get everything together. I would really appreciate your help. But I think a lot of times, people ask so many times, and I'm going to go back through this again because we talk about this all the time. People ask how they can help so many times. And a lot of times you probably just say, oh no, I got it. Everything's great. It's wonderful. And it's not. But used to say that. And so eventually people stop asking. And I had a mom that asked me, she says, well, like usually what happens is like, I don't know when I need help. And I said, well, usually, because us moms, we're all very good at seeing where the fires are and which ones need to be put out. And so what we'll do is we'll usually offer our services, just kind of, like, hey, how can I help? What can I do? And a lot of times it's not, taken up on. But I said a lot of times other moms will let you know where you need help and when you need help. They'll offer it to you. So just make sure you actually take it. And that is what is really important. Another thing for the holidays, you're going to have to do this. This was the other time. All the moms at this MOPS meeting looked at me like I was crazy. But they had to admit that it was true. You need to learn when and how to say no. I'm going to say it again because I need you to get it in there, get it in your soul. You need to learn when and how to say no. Listen, the holidays are so much fun. I love them. I think they're just great. But listen, you can't host it all. You can't host all the parties. You can't do all the things for everybody. So you know what? You don't have to host every year. You don't have to host the family gathering every year. Some years, other family members can host, and that's okay. And I think that, sometimes we get into, like, we call them traditions, but they really are just kind of like ruts sometimes, because we're just like, it's always been this way for the last 30 years. We have hosted blah, blah, blah. Well, why? Like, if you can't do it this year and somebody else has the time, the freedom, the space, the desire, then by all means, let them host. And you say, listen, I'll bring da, 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 da. But can, you take it on? Because sometimes you just got to say no. Sometimes your life is not conducive to throwing parties and all this stuff. And that's okay. I had a friend a couple of years ago. She just had a new baby, but she's still trying to do all the same things that she did before before she had children. And finally, she just had to put her foot down and be like, it's not working. I can't do all this. So someone else is going to have to take over. And that takes me to my next topic. And this is something that I'm like actually kind of I don't know, like I'm really impassioned. I'm passionate about it because it is something that Jim and I did, and we are so glad that we did it. But listen, you do not have to travel all over the world on Christmas Day or on any holiday, really, to see all of your family members, okay? You don't have to do it. Listen, and this adds so much stress when you have kids and you have pets and you have all these things that have to get taken with you. Because, remember, like, okay, babies have so many things. So if you're trying to drive, to, your husband's mom's house and then your mom's house, you got the baby, you got to pack with the baby. You got more than one baby. You got a kid, and the dog. What are we going to do with the dog? Well, the dog can't sit at home all day. So now we got to bring the dog with us. We'll make sure you have the things for the dog. I mean, it can get crazy. And so, sometimes you just have to kind of put your foot down and be like, no, we are going to stay home on Christmas Day. And if you would like to see us, that is where we will be. That's something that we had to do because we just were super busy. We are, at the time, my family lived like an hour, 15 minutes away. And then my husband's family lived like 2 hours and 15 minutes away. And everybody wanted to see us. And we were kind of like, okay, well, that's not going to happen because we'll just spend our entire day driving all over the state of Indiana and Illinois. And so if you want to see us, y'all know our address. You know where we'll be on Christmas Day. You are more than welcome to come to our house. I'll even fry you some chicken. But guess what? We can't drive back and forth like that, especially when our son was little. Now it's a little bit different. He's a lot more self-sufficient. He can do his own thing. So making him jump in the car to drive somewhere on Christmas Day after we have our own family Christmas and breakfast on Christmas Day. That is my thing. We won't give that up. We do that, the three of us, and now it'll be the four of us with our dog. But then after that, like, okay, fine, we can get up. But that's just as of like last year. That's new. It's not, it was definitely not while he was a baby and while he was a toddler. No. People they're gonna be stressed out about that. They're not gonna like hearing that. But you know what? This too shall pass, and it'll be their turn eventually, when they have kids or whatever, to be the ones that say, no, you guys need to come to us. And that's okay. It's a cycle, and it'll be fine. And you can give them that freedom too. You can say, listen, it's your turn. I'll come to you this time because you've got whatever going on. And here's another thing, the way you can say no is, listen, you don't have to max out your credit cards, okay? The average family put about $1,000 on their credit cards for Christmas of 2018. So they went about $1,000 more in debt just from Christmas alone. So in the 6-week span, of the holiday season, they put about $1,000 on their credit card, and it takes about 5 years. It will take about 5 years for them to pay that off. So listen, your kid does not have to have every single toy. Every family member does not have to have a super expensive gift. It is more about being with each other. It's more about experiences. Because I'll tell you what, most of the things that I bought my son, or that Santa has brought my son for Christmas, we can't even find those things. And a lot of them are, gone. But let me tell you, he remembers experiences like it ain't nothing. He can tell us all the big fun things that we did that didn't even necessarily cost that much money. He can tell us those things that he did at Christmas time. But if I asked him that big, super amazing toy that he wanted and whatever year, where that is, he literally cannot tell us. He does not know. Okay. So don't get so caught up in that. And then you end up spending so much money, trying to make your child happy. And it's just not, it's not necessary. It's not important, to go into debt. So say no. You just gotta, they can't have everything, and it's okay. Sometimes it stinks to not be able to do that. But really, trust me, the experience of the holiday season will far surpass, the things that they get. And giving, if you do give, I would implore you to possibly, find a charity or maybe something through your church to give to that, and even, bring your kids into that. Help them learn, giving can be awesome, and it doesn't always have to be about, getting the coolest, newest toy of 2019 or whatever. It could be about making sure that another kid, who's in the hospital has a teddy bear, or something like that, something that is really meaningful. And, I think will be more memorable and more of an experience for everyone involved. The final thing is, you want to just kind of take time to enjoy your blessings. I know that the holidays can be a crazy time. It's so much fun, but it's also just like a lot. And a lot of times what happens is we kind of forget like the reason for the season, And the holidays are all about spending time with your friends and your family. And, yes, the presents and the dinners are so fun. And the parties are so great. But like, if you didn't have these people in your life, like none of this would even be happening. Like you wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't have all these people to shop for. You wouldn't have all these people to spend your time with. And so I really just ask you to, kind of give thanks for what you have, and like really think about, all the people in your life and how important they are to you. And I honestly, could you tell them, how much you love them, and, just thank God for everything that you have, even the craziness. And honestly, I love this time because I find that during the holidays, I spend a lot more time in the Bible, in all realness, in the Bible app. I'm a Bible app person. And like right now I am following, an Advent Bible plan. And I just really like this time because I just feel like I spend so much more time in the Bible, in the Word, with God. And, I'm just really trying to focus on what matters. So I implore you to do that. And that is a really big part of self-care, is just really kind of getting down to the nitty gritty and figuring out what matters and like what doesn't matter. And if it doesn't matter, girl, bye. It's got to go, because like at the end of the day, like that's really what's important. And I talked about this a little bit in my Monday motivation. And if you don't know about my Monday motivations, I do them every Monday, hence the name Monday Motivation. And they are just like quick 5 to 6 minute motivations that you get once a week on Instagram and on Facebook. And this past week I talked about it, but I'm gonna give a quick little I don't know, I guess like a refresh on what I said. But, really another way to practice self-care and to take time to enjoy your blessings is to honestly let go of past hurts and like forgive. The holidays is just a perfect time to forgive people for, wrongs that they've done to you. And listen, I said this on Monday and I'm going to say this again. It's not for them. It's for you. Harboring all that pain, harboring all that hurt, it does nothing for them. It doesn't do anything to them, but it hurts you. And so the holidays are a great time to kind of cleanse, regroup, forgive those people. And, it doesn't mean you have to bring them back into your life. That's not what that means. But it does mean that you're allowing yourself to move on so that you can, do what you need to do and let those people go, and or bring them into your life, like whatever. But when you forgive, that opens you up, that frees you up. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you, less of a person. And it's not even condoning their actions. But forgiveness is for you. It's to free you up. And the way I do it is I just pray for, I pray for God to take away the anger and the hurt. Some people write down what hurts them or how they were hurt, and they throw it into the fire, they throw it in the trash, they shred it, whatever you need to do. But I just implore you, it's kind of the last step of self-care for this holiday season, and honestly beyond, is to just, forgive others for how they've wronged you. And then, release. We have a thing that I always say, a few of my friends, we always say, bless and release. And that's what you need to do. And I think that's what the holiday season can really be about, is you look at the blessings and you release, the stuff that isn't. Just being honest. Honestly, because it may not look like it, but it's really important to take care of yourself during the holiday season. And it's more important to do that than it is to make your holidays fit, some sort of ideal that is not, like achievable. It's not attainable. And so like, whatever, forget it. Who cares? So you got to do you. You got to take care of yourself. And subsequently, you have to take care of your family. So just real quick, I'm going to recap them. just so that you have, you're like, okay, she gave me a lot of stuff, a lot of good stuff. Let me make sure I got it. Make sure that you're doing something that you enjoy, whether it's crafts, hobbies, reading or listening to your favorite book, drinking that Starbucks in the Target parking lot while your babies are sleeping. You got to do what you got to do. Make sure you're caring for your physical health, okay? Get enough sleep. Get enough exercise. Make sure that you're balancing all those good holiday foods with healthier foods and drinking enough water. Make sure that you're using your deep breathing, okay? The 4-7-8 method is like my go-to. Count to 10, count to 100, but make sure you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth, and use that during those crazy stressful times when it's just like a lot. Ask for help, you guys. Make sure that you're asking for help. Make sure that you're not trying to take on everything, that you're not trying to take on everything by yourselves. And listen, don't be afraid to say no. You got to learn when and how to say no. You cannot do everything, and that's okay, because guess what? You are a mom, and moms are pretty dang awesome, but you're also a human being. And so you have to remember that you can't do everything. You can't be everything to everyone. And so you have to make sure that you are able to say no, because then that opens you up to do the things that you can and, want to do. And then finally, just take time to enjoy your blessings. Take time to enjoy all the craziness that's happening, and to remember why it's happening, and just to realize how blessed you are that, we have all this stuff. You have all these people in your lives that you get to celebrate the holidays with. And, take time to let go of some hurts and some past wrongs, because honestly, you want to step into the new year as with a fresh, clean slate. And it's not always about resolutions. Sometimes it's honestly just about opening yourself up to new possibilities, new experiences, new things. And in order to do that, you have to let go of the old, and you have to forgive, and you have to let go of past hurts so that you can move forward into the next phase and the next experience of your life. So I hope those were some good tips for the holidays. And honestly, I say that for the holidays, but I think we could probably rework them and make them work for any time of year. But I really just wanted to give you some good self-care tips for the holidays, Mama, because it is important that you take care of yourself during the holiday season and beyond, to be quite honest. So before I go, I want to thank you so much for listening to the Taking Back You Momcast. We only have one more week. I'm going to do an episode for next week, and then we're going to have like a 2-week break. So I just wanted to take the time to thank you so much for listening to the Taking Back You Momcast. I want to invite you to share this like I did at the beginning of the episode, invite you to subscribe to this Momcast, and I just really, really thank you for everything that you do, that you bring into my life, for all the people who, message me and talk to me on social media. I really enjoy sharing with you, and I really just enjoy doing, mom life with you. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have a great Wednesday, an amazing December, and get working on that shopping, ladies, if you haven't already. And honestly, if you haven't started shopping yet, then Amazon's there, and that's what I love Amazon for. Don't stress out too much. Don't be running all over the town. Get them something on Amazon. They'll be all right. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Thanks so much for listening. For more information on Taking Back You and the Taking Back You Momcast, visit us at takingbackyou.com. From there, you'll be able to follow us on social media, listen to past episodes, and learn all about the mission of Taking Back You. Be sure to subscribe to get future episodes. And from all of us at Taking Back You, thank you so much for your support.